So it's a new campaign, but we don't have a fixture during this international break. So how valuable is a training camp like this for you and your players?
It is, but you know, post World Cup we went from World Cup and then right into a qualification campaign, the Euros. So we've not had any time to work on anything specifically. So having a camp like this allows us, without any pressure, building towards a game, to do extensive work, not just on the pitch but off the pitch as well. So it's really valuable for us, especially we've got off to a great start, but we're now going to play Albania away. So it means that we've got 5 sessions that we can work on extensively before we leave to play Albania. So it's really good.
So we say it's the early start to a new campaign. We've had one match down. Just how pleasing was the victory over Cyprus?
Yeah, I think it was. I mean, people will look and say that, Cyprus are a developing nation. It was their first time in a competition, albeit they played other games, but you've still got to score goals, and that's very, very difficult in international football. And I think the most pleasing aspect, well, 2 things. I think post-World Cup we had a record crowd for a qualifier, over 6,000, and that means there's a huge appetite, for women's football, but to come and watch the national team. And then the second thing is winning so convincingly, but in the manner that we did. The performance was great with some good individual performances. Namely Kim Little scoring 5 goals, but I think our movement was incredible. We starting to kind of form relationships with fullbacks and wide players. So tactically, it's the most pleasing thing for a coach when you see things that you've worked on at training come to fruition in the game.
So in that squad for the Cyprus game and in this training camp, there are a number of new faces from the World Cup squad. How excited are you by these players and the competition for places?
Competition is what makes you as a player. It helps you develop even further, and certainly over the past 2 years we've used more than 33 players, and we always talk about trying to get 3 players per position, and it's tough because we aren't a big nation ourselves, but I think credit to all the players, they're making it more and more difficult, and we've got some new faces in, and having a training camp allows us to do that as well. So often when you come in as a player, and I've had this experience myself as a player, you come in, your focus is just trying to do your best so that you can get selected for the game. But here, having the training camp, having that competitive environment, they can solely focus on what they do at training, and also theoretically, some of the tactical things that we'll work on this week is how receptive the players are, and that will help them, and it will help us as a group to perform in each game.
We've seen some younger players called in, Sam Kerr, while Jamie Lee Napier and Amy Muir have made the step up from the under-19s. Is it quite pleasing to see sort of a pathway coming through for some of the younger players?
Yeah, I think it's quite tough. I think it's a huge jump from under-19s to straight into women's A. It's tough, and there's no obviously competition globally for an age group in between that's recognised. So, and it's tough. Sam's a player that I really like. I rate her. I think her energy on the pitch is brilliant. She was fantastic through the youth squads, especially with under-19. She's had the experience of playing in the finals for the 19s as well, and equally so is Jamie Lee and Amy Muir. So they're all players that I think can add value to the squad, but the time's got to be right for them. Sam's one that I think she first was involved in the USA game. She came in and then obviously got her place and merit for the Cyprus game, and then she's in a game because she's working hard, and I think it is quite exciting. I think our average age of the squad's about 26 years old. And that's good. We've got some senior players, and it's great that we have that talent, that they can come in and learn from the experienced players like Jennifer Beattie and Kim Little.
One player who's training with us this week is Martha Thomas. Can you tell us a bit about her?
Yeah, Martha is a player that she played for West Ham in FAWSL, and she's a player that we've been tracking for over 2 years. She was brought to our attention. She played in the collegiate system in the US. Former colleague Angie Hind informed us about her, so we tracked her progress, and she was doing really, really well. Unfortunately for Martha, she got an ACL injury, came back playing, and she was playing over in France at Le Havre. So again, we sent a scout over to watch her pre-World Cup, and you know, she's been doing well, got her moved to West Ham, and we felt that this was the right time to bring her in. Her attributes, she's quick, she can be direct, obviously she can play through the middle as a striker, but she can also play in midfield and out wide, so she's a versatile player, and you know, for a young player, she's good leadership qualities as well, which is always what we're looking for to add value to the squad. Looking back to the summer and the World Cup now, just how do you reflect on the tournament as a whole? Really pleased. You know, I think once you have time to obviously reflect, you look at the positives from the tournament, and there's been so many. Last week I was at the World Cup conference over in Milan, and you know, it was great to see the tactical and technical data coming out, and you know, it was really pleasing that, you know, Scotland in their very first ever World Cup are up there with some of the data, and you know, I think Japan, when we played Japan, I think we had 51% possession. Now, possession doesn't win you games of football, but you know, if you think about the results as well against England, Japan 2-1 and 2-1 narrow losses, and for parts of the game we competed really well, and I think the final game against Argentina, the game plan was working really well. We're 15 minutes away from doing something remarkable, and so I think at the time, you know, it is very raw, because that's what sport does. You know, it gives you highs and it gives you lows, but certainly in reflection, there's lots to be pleased about. I think there's definitely a lot of learnings, because we don't want to rest on our laurels. We've been to a Euro finals, we've been to World Cup finals, and we want that to continue. So we have to take the learnings and, you know, try and progress as a national team. But certainly lots of positives. I like the style of football we're playing. I think it's been quite attacking. You can't always do that, but I think lots and lots of positives in terms of our attacking play. And you know, it's just small marginal sometimes at the highest end of the game, but for me personally, I think it's been a great journey, and it's one that we want to continue. Just put yourself back in the position you were in just at the start of the England match. Just how proud were you just when those national anthems were going out with all those Scotland fans in the stands? It was amazing. I think even a step before that, the Jamaica game at Hampden, over 18,500 spectators there, something I never thought I would see in my lifetime. And then it felt as if there was 18,500 Scottish fans against England as well, and in the Stade de Nice. And it's just, you know, it's a surreal moment. You are at the helm, leading your nation to the very first ever World Cup, and you know, it's kudos to all the support, even the ones at home, but the ones that travelled to Nice, you know, spent their summer holiday and spent a lot of money coming to support us, and they were in great voice. And you know, it did give us an extra edge when you look at the second half performance. You know, they're willing you on, and you know, Claire Emsley, you know, scores and gets us our first ever goal at the World Cup. So, but I think, you know, you walk out in that stadium and then you hear the national anthem, and yeah, it was an incredibly proud moment for everyone, not just for myself but for the team as well. And have you been able to speak to many fans since you've been back? I have, you know, strangely enough, you know, I've been walking the dog, and you know, it's a generation gap, you know, from a young boy at 5 years old to a mature gentleman, to say, you know, thanks to the team for allowing me to watch Scotland at a World Cup. And you know, it shows how much it means to people of Scotland to compete, you know, on the world stage. And those are the parts that, you know, I enjoy the most. That's the legacy that's happened and happening because you have that success of getting to very ever first World Cup finals. In terms of the players, some of them now have 2 major tournaments under the belt. How do you feel they can use the experience of playing at a World Cup going forward? Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, players, coaches alike, staff, you learn from being in challenging moments. You know, sometimes, you know, you learn more from being in more challenging moments, but certainly the players learnt a lot from the Euros. We've still got that, some of the players at that group are still together, so you know, the lessons that you learn are so valuable moving forward, and you've got to dissect everything, but then eventually you have to move on because we're right on to another campaign. But the World Cup was special for us all, and it's certainly, you have to take the positives, build on them, and, you know, because every team, you know, you have challenging moments, so it's important that from those challenging moments that you think about what they were, how you dealt with them at the time, and how you would deal with them in the future.
On a different note, you've just been appointed to the IFAB Football Advisory Panel. Can you tell us a bit about that role and how it came about?
Well, we haven't had any meetings as yet, but yeah, I was asked to go on the panel, and I'm really looking forward to it. I think there's a meeting at the end of October, so yeah, I think I've had a lot of experiences in football, and I think it's great that they look for a diverse panel to give their opinion on things that can make a difference in the game. So yeah, I'm really excited about it.